Good evening, and welcome to another Spring 2021 event here at the Young Center for Anabaptist and Pietist Studies at Elizabethtown College. I'm Steve Nault, Interim Director at the Young Center, and I'm so glad each of you could join us this evening. With the support of Elizabethtown College, the Young Center fosters and promotes the study of Anabaptism and Pietism, both as historical movements and as contemporary living faith communities. And it's in that latter vein that our attention turns this evening, as we learn about recent experiences among the Church of the Brethren in Nigeria, typically known by its English acronym of its Nigerian name, EYN. With nearly 1 million adherents, the EYN Church is one of the largest Anabaptist groups in the world today. It is also a church that knows great suffering due to the current political and economic situation in Nigeria. And tonight we'll be hearing firsthand accounts from the Young Center's Kreider and Snowden Fellows, Samuel Dali and Rebecca Dali, who will be sharing stories of pain and hope from the crises engulfing northern Nigeria and the EYN Church's response. Reverend Samuel Dali is a pastor, a teacher, and a longtime EYN leader who served as president of the EYN Church from 2011 to 2016 during the height of the insurgency in northern Nigeria. He holds a PhD degree in theology from the University of Birmingham in the United Kingdom. Rebecca Dali is the founder and executive director of the Center for Caring, Empowerment, and Peace Initiatives, known by its acronym CEPI. She holds a doctorate in ethics from the University of Jos in Nigeria. In 2017, she received the Sergio Vieira de Mello Award from the United Nations in recognition of her humanitarian work. As we begin this evening, I also want to acknowledge the generosity of the Snowden family and the Kreider family, who makes our Young Center fellowships possible, fellowships that in this case have allowed the Dalis to be with us this semester. I also want to let our audience know that you can submit questions via the Q&A feature, not the chat feature, but the Q&A feature of the Zoom webinar. And we'll try to take up some of those questions at the end as time permits. And now I invite Samuel Dali to share with us.
I have about what is happening in Nigeria. On behalf of me and my wife, I want to thank Jeff Batch and Steve Nault for the opportunity to be the Snowwood and Kreider Fellows at Young Center for Anabaptist and Pietist Studies and to research subject of our interest. We also want to thank you for taking time to zoom in to listen to what we are going to share. My research topic here at the center is modified public theology of 16th century Anabaptism for Nigerian Christian. But I'm not going to talk about public theology this evening. My topic this evening is the church's compassionate response to the crisis in northern Nigeria. I will begin by offering an overview of ethnic, religious, and political structure of Nigeria, which may have contributed to the present crisis, and then a summary of the Boko Haram crisis, and briefly also the Fulani herders and bandits and kidnappers crisis, and then an outline of some painful situations that people are going through and the church's compassionate response and challenges with the EYN as an example. I want to emphasize that the Nigerian crisis is historical, ethnic, politically, and religious. Nigeria, structured into 36 states, is the most populated country in Africa with estimated of 206,636,000 people. 65% of this population are under the age of 25 years. Due to poverty, poor health conditions, perennial ethnic religious violence, life expectancy in Nigeria is 54 for men and 55.7 for women. Nigeria is sharply divided along ethnic and religious lines. 50% are said to be Muslim, 45 Christians, 5% traditional religion. Nigeria is considered a very religious people. However, the picture of Nigeria today is characterized by violent conflicts like Boko Haram, Fulani Haida attack, bandits, kidnapping, and killing and destruction of property. This raises questions about the role and the benefit of religion in Nigeria. These are the pictures of how Nigeria appeared as a religious community with Muslim traditional religion in the center and Christian right. Nigeria has two contradictory systems of government with contradictory constitutions. Federalism with secular constitution pretending to use democracy to elect political leaders. Liberal Islamic state with Sharia law and Sharia court at the local, state, and federal level, paralleling the secular federal system with a sultan and caliphate headquarters in Sokoto, who is the supreme political religious leader of Nigerian Muslims. He has emirs in each state working like governors, often competing with state governors. This paradoxical political structure partly contributes to the emergence of different crises such as Boko Haram in Nigeria. Boko Haram represents a radical Salafi sect of Islam that believes it is the true, pure expression of Islam. Its goal is to return to what it says is an original political and moral practice of Islam as it was during the time of Prophet Muhammad. They are fighting to bring Muslims back to what they consider as a pure form of Islam. They promise paradise and forgiveness to those who die for Allah. And they teach them that those who die in war are not really dead, but are living in the presence of their Lord, rejoicing, enjoying bounty provided by Allah. Since the beginning of Boko Haram 2009, they have killed over 1,000 people, and they are still killing and kidnapping people today. Boko Haram displaced over 3 million people from their homes and kidnapped thousands. You remember the Chibok girl, 276 Chibok school girls kidnapped in 2014 and 2017. 82 were rescued and 111 are still in captivity. On February 21st, 2018, 110 Dapchi school girls were kidnapped. All were rescued except Leah Shaibu, who was the only Christian among them. On March 24th, 2020, Boko Haram ambushed Nigerian army and killed 50, as reported by Al Jazeera. On December 2nd, 2020, Boko Haram killed 70 farmers in a rice field near a village of Zambarmari in Borno State. Recently, Boko Haram commander released a video giving ultimatum to the Nigerian government to come to the aid of Pastor Bulus Yakuru from Chibok, an EYN pastor who is in their custody. But thank God we heard that he has been released yesterday. Fulani Haida's attack is new crisis causing suffering to many Nigerians today. While Boko Haram seems to be endless crisis, the Fulani Haida's crisis has emerged alongside it. The Fulani Haida's crisis grew out of rural conflict between Haidas and farmers. Now they are attacking people all over Nigeria, burning houses, destroying farms and farm produce. They are kidnapping for ransom travelers, villagers, people at wedding, funeral, and school children. They rape women and kill those who do not pay for ransom. As reported by Christian Association of Nigeria, January 8, 2018, Fulani Haidas killed 1,471 people in Benue State alone. Bandits, kidnappers are becoming nationwide crisis in Nigeria in addition to the Fulani Haidas attack and Boko Haram. Bandits and kidnappers are criminal gangs taking advantage of the political chaos all over West Africa, and they are well organized, heavily armed, and deliberately kidnap people for money. They attack villages, burn houses, loot properties, and kill people. They have kidnapped a large number of people from public bus, school children, and people attending weddings and funerals. And they demand huge sum of money that ordinary Nigeria do not have such money. On December 15, 2020, bandits kidnapped 344 Kankara school boys in Katsina State and demanded 344 million naira, which is about 765,000. On December 20th, 2020, they kidnapped another school children 80 in another village still in Katsina State. And you may also remember US citizen that was kidnapped in Niger, but rescued in Nigeria in October 2020. On November, they kidnapped 12 Nigerian police officers on their way to Zamfara to carry out a special assignment. On February 15, 2021, they kidnapped 21 passengers from the bus, and that was the bus you hear them crying, women and children under the control of the kidnappers. And these particular kidnappers are associated with the Boko Haram. On February 25th, 2021, you had 317 school girls were kidnapped from Zamfara, but now they have been released. While kidnapping is a nationwide problem in Nigeria, kidnapping is political, economic, religious, psychological warfare made worse by ethnic anger, weak and corrupt government, and criminal impunity, as well as shortage of security personnel, the proliferation of weapons, and support from some radical Muslims outside Nigeria. Politically, some selfish, corrupt politicians employ jobless Nigerians in kidnapping as a political tactic to intimidate their opponents or punish communities that did not vote for them. Some employ jobless youth as a political target during and after election, and then such jobless ones turn to kidnapping as a way of survival. Economically, Fulani herders who lost their cattle turn to kidnapping as a means of surviving the hardship caused by poor economic conditions in Nigeria. Religiously, Boko Haram resorted to kidnapping as a way of financing their activities and to send a warning to Christian communities and to Muslims who do not agree with their ideologies. Ethnically, Fulani herders feel that they have been neglected and targeted by the government. And to show their frustration with the government, they resort to attacking other ethnic groups. Then COVID-19 pandemic has worsened poverty and hardship for people, perhaps leading them to resort to kidnapping for survival. As the population has increased, competition for food and other materials is greater. Boko Haram has now distorted social, ethnic, and interfaith relations in Nigeria. They have infiltrated almost all sectors of the society and have their informers, sympathizers, and supporters among politicians and government security agents, business people, and across the society. They have broken social trust and relationship, and they have put some women into forced marriage. They have perpetuated sexual abuse of women and enslaved some young boys. People now live in fear and cannot go out to their farm field or travel freely to the market. The disastrous effect of kidnapping, rape, death, collective family poverty. People live in fear, mistrust, and suspicion of each other. Victims suffer psychological stress, trauma, and nightmares, crippling the spirit of resilience. Rape victims suffer unwanted pregnancy and sexually transmitted diseases like HIV/AIDS. Victims in captivity suffer inhuman maltreatment, beating, torture, death. In some cases, even after ransom is paid, victims' family and relatives get poorer as they must sell all they have to pay ransom. UN or church respond to the situation. Compassion, we say churches respond with compassion. Compassion is a strong feeling of sympathy, concern, and sadness for the suffering of others and desire to relieve such suffering. From a biblical perspective, compassion is a form of love that arises when confronted by those who suffer, and it produces action to alleviate suffering. Compassion is also a feeling of the need to forgive those who caused suffering. We read in Psalm 78:38 that God showed compassion to people who angered him by forgiving their iniquity and restrain his anger. In Matthew 9:36 and Luke 23:34, we read how Jesus demonstrated compassion by providing food to the hungry and asked God to forgive his enemies when he said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Compassion is often shown by people or by someone who is directly affected. But when you are the victim, like the church in Nigeria, how do you show compassion? Churches in Nigeria still obey the teachings of Christ and follow his steps while dealing with enemies. Church of the Brethren in particular was founded in 1923 by two brethren missionaries, Steve Kolb and Albert Hilsa. Since then, the church, before Boko Haram, had over 1,000 members, and we have 50 district church council, 456 local church council, 2,250 local church branches, and the church had about 500 active pastors then, 500 assistant pastors, and about 2,250 evangelists heading local church branches. Due to Boko Haram, the church lost about 8,000 and 700,000 were displaced. 43 districts were closed. 1,674 local church and church branches were destroyed. EYN today, the church today has over 900,000 members, both baptized and unbaptized, and over 1,000 pastors, 57 active district church council, 285 local church council, and 1,145 local church branches. Each local church branch has 150 to 5,000 members, while local church branches has 20 to 130. Since 2016, the church has been rebuilding itself and repairing damaged houses and buildings, church buildings. There are still thousands in temporary camps in Borno and Adamawa State, and we still have 15,000 refugees in Cameroon, but they have started establishing churches in Cameroon. The churches is still constantly in prayer and fasting, seeking God's mercy and intervention. The church is trying hard to avoid the temptation of retaliation or acting like criminals who attack. The church continues to support those who are directly affected, especially the displaced, continue to distribute food to displaced victims, both Christian and Muslim, in places like Garkida and Lhasa and elsewhere. The church continues to be repairing and rebuilding destroyed properties, houses, and churches. Church is operating microfinance banking to help with income and to loan to members who wanted to start small business to raise income to feed their family. Through community development program, the church has been raising seedling for tree planting, and district and local churches encourage tree planting to prevent desert encouragement. The church is active in evangelism and church planting in Cameroon, Togo, Niger, Taraba, Nasarawa, and within city of Jos. EYN Peace Program organized seminar on peace, trauma healing, and resilience, and works with secondary schools, both Christian and Muslim, and teaches church members to forgive and accept their Muslim neighbors. In 2016, EYN received a German Peace Award for its effort in peace building between Christian and Muslim in northern Nigeria. Kolb Bible College, our big seminary, has been upgraded to Kolb Theological Seminary. The seminary is now affiliated with the University of Jos. It offers higher degree in theology to Nigerian pastors. Other Bible colleges like John Gully in Michigan and Madu Bible College in Marama are also training pastors and evangelists. EYN secondary schools at Kwarhi, Maiduguri, Yola are providing needed education to children in their communities despite insecurity and poor economic conditions. EYN Disaster Ministry, led by Reverend Yuguda Andruva, this ministry was created in 2015 to address the needs and massive problem caused by Boko Haram. Throughout 2020, the Disaster Ministry has distributed food and non-food items to 86,000 households. They have given scholarship to 501 students at all levels of education, and they have distributed 6,240 bags of fertilizer to farmers to help raise food to feed their family. And they have repaired 500 houses of those returning to their communities. UN leadership has been challenging the government at local, state, and federal level to take more seriously their responsibility for protecting life and property. The leadership has centralized payment of pastors' salaries since some local churches are not able to pay their pastors. EYN is in partnership with our mission and the Church of the Brethren and Mission 21 and are working together to help people survive through the ongoing crisis. The challenges facing the church: ongoing insecurity. Some areas like Chubak, Askra, Musa, Dile, Waga, Garkida, Madagari are still under constant attack by Boko Haram. Boko Haram, Fulani herders, and bandits have restricted people's movement. The church lacks funds to pay pastors' salary since members cannot give as much money due to the economic crisis, and the church has thousands of widows and orphans who have no means of getting food to feed their children or send them to school. The church is facing the challenge of how to meet the emotional, psychological, and physical needs of those widows and orphans. And there is the question of how to rebuild the broken trust and relationship in society and among neighbors. Thank you for listening. I will now hand over to my wife to continue.
Responding with compassion to the crisis in Northeast Nigeria, how Center for Caring, Empowerment, and Peace Initiative has been responding. Gratitude to all for the recognition and sharing this tragic crisis and the stories of survival, suffering, pain, resilient. And thank you, Professor Steve and the Snowden family. Sorry if I did not pronounce it correctly. My work in progress, the research is on Nigerian women quagmires in decades of perilous conflict worsened by Boko Haram and worsened by COVID-19. We can move forward, mutuality and interdependency as needed solution to the Nigerian crisis. CEPI recent humanitarian work brings hope and builds resilience from the Boko Haram crisis and others. Programs initiated by CEPI and partnering organizations to address victims' reality and needs of humanity. And then my plea for support and a way forward. Displacement, millions internally displaced because of ongoing insecurity, Boko Haram, insurgency, bandits, as we have had. UNHCR recognized thousands of women and children forced to flee because of surging violence. The response is awful. Women, children, others need protection and care. Desperate girls turning to sexual survival sex. My personal story of violence and trauma in Northeast Nigeria. It started since even before I was born. And my earlier memory of childhood is terrible. I suffered a lot, and I was endangered and even was raped at the age of 6 years. As a child and as a mother, family, and I have been displaced many times, and we are still away from our home places. My child was lost during the 2011 Jos crisis. My niece, Alice Ngada, was abducted, and my sister died because of the trauma. Many relatives, including my husband's cousin, were killed by Boko Haram. I was kidnapped by Boko Haram on 30th July 2014 on my way to Chibok to visit the parents of the Chibok girls. Beginning of CEPI, 1989, we began with 3 orphans and 2 widows. No intention to start an organization. It just began with a desire to help women and girls in poverty and extreme suffering. CEPI is based on 3 central principles: caring, empowering, promoting the importance of peace, and it is non-political, strictly humanitarian, tax-exempt, and non-profit organization. My motivation, because of my faith in God and my situation, background, and CEPI supporters. We have all these organizations, the here, Christian AIDS Ministry, Tiafan, UNHCR, Church of the Brethren, Department of State, United States of America, the Embassy, Rescue, International Rescue, Nigerian agencies, Bread for the World in Germany. But all these organizations, we are no more partnering with them now. Some, they are no more giving grant. Thousands, but still thousands of people are supporting CEPI with money, with food, with non-food item. And we have CEPI both here in the US and in Nigeria. Volunteers from Nigeria, US, Germany, and many African countries all help to support this most vulnerable. And we cannot pay them, but God will reward them. We see how women and children are victims of this violence and persecution. Orphans need care, and women and children suffer acts of violence, you can see. So CEPI, we identify the need of the most vulnerable, which is a key part of our work. We talk to the survivor, we record their history and their demographic, and we know their personal situation, their specific need, and then we either address the need directly or we refer them to some organization. And also we follow their personal progress and outcome. So among the crowd, we try to register, and then we look for who are the most vulnerable, then we serve them first. We have our value, which the acronym is PRISLIN, and we have our strategy, which the acronym is PRINCE. So it all involves profiling, empowerment, accountability, communication, love, networking, and then protection, response. We include everybody, we empower, and then we solve the problems that is there that we can be able, and we teach. So through this, our CEPI team, they are daily keeping to our values and working together in love and unity to realize our aim and objective to fight against human rights abuses and help people in desperate situations. And because of this strategy, we are able, we enable the beneficiary to survive and grow and build resilience, because life must continue. What we have learned about the crisis, both my master's and PhD research and CEPI work, we understand that because of women's vital role in the Nigerian family and society, the effect of such crises are more devastating for women than men because of burden of pregnancy and caring for children, difficulty to earn income, to buy food and pay for school fees. Social stigmatization create feeling of shame. So female victims, regardless of religion, are equally suffering from the inflicted trauma. So during our profiling, we identify the acute need, which are food, shelter, healthcare, water, and sanitation. We also identify long-term needs, which are trauma healing, reintegration, training them in skill because life will continue, agriculture and protection initiative, etc. So the road to trauma healing and building resilience, we have gradual process stretching through a period marked by affirmative activities aimed at restoring survival of violence to a normal life. CEPI begins first by addressing survivor's need, which I've already said, that to save life, which are food, shelter, etc. And we offer survival dignity to then take charge of their life and their future. So our successful humanitarian method for helping survival overcome trauma and become resilient, we assess their situation, we identify, and then we provide the needs. And this is the sample. We have a form that we do it. This is the sample of the form. And this file, we pack them, everybody that we attend, we pile them, and we also have a computer database, more than million, but this one are for the people who were killed. So with the help of the Church of the Brethren, Pat went to Nigeria and they work with my team. And we thank Professor Johnston, who donated scanner and analyzed CEPI data. So the provision of services for survival, food and nutrition, we can see how transparent and orderly the distribution is, because it is essential for human dignity. And the shelter, and we built houses, given the Christian Aid gave us over $500,000, and we build houses and we provide food for 1 year. And the UNHCR, with our help, we they build the houses, but then we are the one who distributed to 100 most vulnerable because we identify them. So we distributed 152 new houses to most vulnerable people. And we have 1,505 houses who were dilapidated. Some, they were burned. Like this widow, her house is just terrible, you can see. But she was staying there with 9 children. When I went, I really wept, but we renovated for her. Health service, we screen for illness. Then we either treat on site because we have health people who are working for CEPI, or we either refer them. Water and sanitation. Sanitation, hygiene, education is critical for preventing spread of illness. And some of the water are horrible, but we teach them how to boil their water because they are drinking out of this, and we train the youth to clean their environment. Trauma healing, widows and children, we work with trained counselors individually or in group to let go of their anger and understand the importance of forgiveness. We pray, we do Bible study, then they share their stories and in group, and we teach them to pray and then passing their burden and hurt to God, who answer their prayer. Process of reintegration. There are many fear because this boy at the left, maybe you cannot see him clearly. He was trained as to trigger, but he did not burn. And he even showed it to us. So wives and children of Boko Haram are really stigmatized and rejected by their husband and family. Fear, because of fear, many of these victims, survivors, they are forced to live in camps away from their family. So we meet them in camp and they tell us their story, some in home, some they heard about us, hear about us, some they were referred by military. So we screen them and then we work one-on-one with them. Then we meet with the family to verify their homes. And we advocate for the survival, for food and housing. And then we establish protection action group and peace group so that they will help us in the process of reintegration, because some of these, they are very, very traumatized. We provide survival with livelihood to become independent. This girl, Esther, she was here and she met Trump. Open Door claimed that they are the one who reintegrated her, but she came to CEPI. We met her when she was 3 months pregnant and we reintegrated her, we kept her, and she even named the baby after me. We have hundreds of those babies. Provision of, this is Skill Acquisition Livelihood Center. We have 5 of them, but this year we don't have funds, so they are all closed. But we train thousands of orphans and vulnerable children, sewing class, knitting class, computer class, and some other classes. We have catering, we have entrepreneurship. We teach them trauma healing and how to save. These are the graduation. So we have the vision, the experience, and the capacity need to transform the world with small resources. So this is CEPI was 30 years last year. So during the graduation, we celebrated CEPI. And this one, after graduation, we gave the graduate sewing machine, computer, or anything that they learn. And we also follow them to monitor their progress And even to those people whom we build houses, we follow them so that they will not, the relative will not snatch the house from them. Sexual and gender-based violence, we monitor them every month, and we create awareness. We empower the women to speak out because rape cases and a lot of things happen. Agriculture and livestock, we distribute fertilizer, herbicides, seedlings. We distribute he and she goats, and we brood chicken, that is broilers, and then we distribute it to the most vulnerable widows, and we give them feed, and so that they will go and help themselves and sell it. Some they will feed their families. We target children, and we have up to 3 programs that we are helping children: child protection, orphans, and foster care. We foster 250 orphans with the help of Victim Support Nigerian and in Madagali. So we provide scholarship and education. And we are planning to build CEPI Agape Institute. So this is protection monitoring. We monitor what is happening. And we have 4 lawyers who volunteer to provide justice to the survivor by taking the perpetrators of rape to court. My daughter is one of them. We still have contact with the Chibok girls' parents, and we support them. We establish village saving and loans so that the women can learn to save. We teach the community, community-based armed violence, because when they went there, they have a lot of land bomb and a lot of things that we discover that there was killing people. So we sensitize the community. We do system strengthening. People who are learning under trees, no classroom and no latrine. So we connected with this construction was supported by USAID. So we, together with the community, we build toilet. We go throughout the camp and we teach the security people and the camp, and we form them into committees to help themselves and how they will live in peace. Over 3,000 camps, we went and we sensitized them. We have CEPI, Christian Muslim dialogue. We support physically challenged and elderly. Recently, 2 days ago, we distributed food. There is no food pantry in Nigeria, but CEPI US supported, and we are distributing food to them. So we started in Sinakomde with some Cameroonians. And this one, people with specific needs. There are a lot of malnourished people, children. So with the support, we buy beans, soybeans, and corn, and groundnuts. We mix them together and we distribute it to the parents of this malnourished, and we are observing them. So our program really supports the people and the community, and they are really thriving. And we learn a lot. And so many times you cannot rely on security. And we learn also that a lot, they will come, but then the things are not enough. But we distribute small, and thousands are receive our aid. Some big support, like building houses, and some small support. So widows are still suffering. This is the record of the death. We have in our record over 80,000 by then, but now we have over 100,000 as in the file. So Christian and Muslim alike suffer, as you can see. But Christians suffer more because they are in they are not their population are not much. So our call for the government and NGO, they should continue with dialogue, continue with peace, and advocate on behalf of the persecuted and traumatized. Survival can feel isolated and angry, so they need to be hugged, they need to be loved. And SEPI here, when I came, with the support of Pastor Pam Riggs, Dr. Dave Faust, Sandy, and Mark Lancaster, Professor Zaman, and Jeff. Although Jeff is no more on the board, but he was, all of them supported, and then we have SEPI US, which is non-profit tax exempt with the purpose of to aid people who are sick, hungry, homeless, refugees, displaced, starting from here, and then we will continue in Nigeria and then the world at large. We have this institution, we plan to establish it because a lot of people, 72% of boys are illiterate and 85% of girls. So we need trauma healing and safe homes and clinic. So this one is just for you to see how beautiful it is. And I hope you will make my dream to come true. We can see classroom, multi-purpose, Tommy rescue, trauma healing. The son of our representative here killed himself because he was sick, depressed. But he said that you should take care of the poor and the marginalized in the world. So a friend gave money to SEPI to do it. So we will name trauma healing in his name. Sample of student hostel. This the front view clinic. And how can you participate? You can designate your donation to build or to help. And so as my friend and colleague Anne, who donated in memory of Tommy, who love and care for the poor, we will name the Tommy Jami Rescue Trauma Healing Center. Support the widows with food. So this is our contact, and you can send a check to our treasurer, Dr. David Faust, and this is his address. Thank you. I thank God for saving my life. I thank God because of partners and donors. Without them, SEPI will not function. And thank you all. Thank you, Professor Jeff. Continue to pray for peace in Nigeria and peace all over the world so that people will not continue to suffer. Amen.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rebecca and Samuel, for sharing with us very personally from your experiences in Nigeria. Many people that you know and you are your relatives who have experienced these things firsthand, and the compassionate ways in which the church and SEPI and you all have responded to this these situations. We have quite a few questions that have come in here, and I will ask you maybe to respond to some of them. One of the questions is CEPI able to work with the Nigerian government?
So where can I?
Just go ahead.
Okay. Yes. CEPI, Nigerian government gave a lot of relief to CEPI once, and is millions of naira, but it's not in monetary. They gave the relief, maize, rice, and all this. So we distributed to thousands of people. And Nigerian victim funds, they supported CEPI with last 2 years with over 80 million to foster orphans and vulnerable children, orphans whose Boko Haram killed their parents. And we identify them, and then we foster them for almost 2 years. But now we are no more partnering with them.
Another question is, what is the most important resource that the North American church can provide?
The North American Church, Church of the Brethren, they are really overwhelmed, exhausted, and they give out of their way. Sometimes when I think about it, it will make me like crying, because even little children give, and some of the old people, they give, and they give a lot. So millions of dollars. So they have already supported us a lot. First with the church, and then with some of the non-profit. I know CEPI benefited a lot, and organization like Education Must Continue, and then the camp, which Brother Marcus, and then there is school in Jos. But I think last year they stopped. This year I did not receive anything again, because they wrote us that they are not going to support us anymore. They will continue with the church. And we are really very, very grateful. They have given, Church of the Brethren has really support us. So we are really very grateful. And up to now, some members of Church of the Brethren, they are still contributing through CEPI, sending their check and individual. So we are really very, very grateful. And we thank them for their support.
That means it's hard to actually ask what they can do, because they have already been doing it. So to us, it will sound like ungratefulness if we still request Church of the Brethren here to send anything except what the Spirit has told them. But they have been doing, as he said, we survived because of the support of the Church of the Brethren.
But we have some Mennonites, and we have Baptist, Presbyterian, and Anabaptist group is very large. So we welcome their support, and we will embrace it with a big hug.
Another question that has come in is, someone wonders if are there problems or issues with climate change in Nigeria? Has that affected agriculture and the growing season there?
Well, I think there is a problem with climate change. It's only that sometimes people don't recognize it, but areas where they're supposed to have enough water, even for drinking, on those days, they are all dried rivers now. And also, people use firewood for cooking. So they have cut almost all the trees around. They won't even allow a tree to spend 2 years before they cut it. And so this is actually causing more problem, shortage of rainfall, desert encroachment. So there is a problem with it seriously. But you know, when you have a massive problem, your attention sometimes goes to the immediate one that is causing you trouble. So Nigeria don't have much time to think about climate change because of the crisis that they are going through already.
And the most unfortunate thing is some of the farmers whose land are very, very fertile, the Boko Haram chased them and they could no longer go and farm there. And some of the Fulani headers chased them away and grabbed their farm. So it's very, very unfortunate.
Another question. Someone asks, do you have any reason for hope as you think about the political situation? The political situation seems many ways hopeless, but are there any positive signs in the political situation?
Well, I think, you know, for Christians who believe in God, especially for me, Nigeria, if not because of the grace of God, Nigeria could have been erased completely from the map since from the independence, because we have faced a series of problems. But this time, actually, if you just look at the government, Nigeria is almost like dying. There is no hope. But if we trust in God, I think Nigeria still has a hope, because it will be a problem if a country like Nigeria can disintegrate. 200 million people. It will affect the whole of Africa and probably the whole world. So we still trust that even the international community will not allow Nigeria to disintegrate. So we still have a hope. We just wanted to wait until when God bring a better government.
Someone is asking whether there or what is being done for farmers, landowners, farmers who are now displaced persons or who are refugees. Are they able to come back to their farm? Are they being resettled on other farms, other places? What is happening to them?
Some, they came, as I show you the picture, in 2014, they went back and they discovered a lot of horrible things, but then they went to their farm, and some they found lands, might, and bomb who kill a lot of people, but then through our sensitization and other group, so they stayed and they are going to their farm and they are rebuilding their communities again. But the unfortunate thing is that the Boko Haram, they are coming second, third time, chasing them and packing the foodstuffs away. So these are the first category. Second category are some, they cannot return home because their homes are completely destroyed and is a non-go area. The Boko Haram, they are staying there permanently, like Gwaza area and some area. So, and so they cannot go there anymore. Some, even in Michika or area where places have returned and they have farms and everything, They are afraid to go back because of the trauma, because they saw 5 or 6 children, including the husband, killed, and the woman was watching. And so some said they will never go back again to their homeland. So that is why we need a safe home, because some of these, they are really traumatized and they are like inside, the trauma is too much. And some, they are devastated. They cannot even walk to earn their living again because of the trauma. So they refuse to go back. And so their land, their relative grab it away from them. And even if they are getting something, they will not give them again. So it's very pathetic situation.
Let me add that the Fulani who have occupied some areas in Middle Belt and other areas are not ready to give up the land. They have occupied the land completely. People are pushed away from the rural areas into the city. And, you know, even some politicians in Nigeria will tell you that the intention of the Fulani is to actually push people all away from the rural area into the city. And then they occupy the rural areas because they have a cattle to take care of. So that's their plan.
Someone in the audience is asking if Brother Marcus is accepting or welcoming volunteers or work groups now from North America, or is that not possible because of COVID-19?
We have to ask him, but is he accepting a work group for building or for what? Because I understand now that his camp is almost full, and even some people, they are not getting the complete housing. Instead of giving 2, they are getting 1. And but maybe he will build some, maybe he has some land, I don't know. We have to ask him. But we will always accept volunteer to work.
Someone is asking whether you feel that your lives are in danger when you are here in North America, and would your lives be in danger if you return to Nigeria?
Yeah, for sure.
After I was doing the reintegration and all this, just serving my people without knowing that I will be awarded with war, something. I don't know who tell them and who told them. So after the award, I now become a world figure. A lot of people know me, including the Boko Haram. So they started texting me, oh, so you are the Rebecca who is reintegrating our women, and you are helping and all this. So it seemed they are like different Boko Haram, because the Boko Haram who got hold of me when I was going to Chibok, they held me and they said they are impressed with my humanitarian work because I'm supporting their family. I've already said my last prayer, but they said go. And but then the Boko Haram that is threatening my life is terrible. So I'm scared, but now I am no more scared. I may go back in 2022 and continue with my humanitarian service, because some of my program are not my team. They are afraid, especially the reintegration. They're afraid of the Boko Haram, and they are not. Some of the program are no more there because they are afraid. So I will go and continue. But I want to build a place in Jos where people will be safe and the reintegration will take place successfully. So, but then surely I will go back. But I am really scared.
Well, I mean, the life of Nigerians today, about this million of people is in danger every day. So whether we go or not, we have our children there. So
And
life
our
in Nigeria, generally, nobody can tell you tomorrow you will be alive. So we still live. People are still living. They go to their farm. They continue with their work. But if you keep watching and listening to what is happening every day, you can lock yourself in the room and die there. So we keep going until when it is time for us to go, then we are gone.
Just a day before yesterday, a friend told me that her sister, they took her sister, and then after the family pay ransom, millions of they kidnapped her sister, and after paying the ransom, they released her, and then 5 days after that, they came back again and they took the husband. So they paid ransom again, but then now they flee here. Now both of them, both the husband and wife, now they are in America. But we have relaxed. We come since 2017, and we have relaxed. American treated us very well. So we are ready to go back, and maybe some that are there, they will come too, but we are really thankful for the generosity.
Someone else has asked whether you have hope that Boko Haram can ever be reformed. Is there a way that they can be reformed? The person also says the Fulani have been there for decades. Why are they exerting more violent displacement now? What hope do you have that the different crises may subside?
Let him start.
Well, and then for Boko Haram, 9 years now, because of the support they get within the country and outside the country, nobody can ever tell you when they will really finish, because there is a mixture of politics and other things. For the Fulani has been there. They have not been in peace, because at the early stage, people were seeing Nigeria in peace because they were in control of the power at that time. And when British came, they suppressed them, but then give them power to continue. And after British have gone, what they're saying now that government that was there before British, they wanted to take it back again. And that's their goal up to today. So Fulani has never stopped creating problems for Nigeria for a long time. You don't just hear it, especially when it is under military, you don't hear much about it. So we are not saying Nigeria is going to be shaving so soon. It's only that it's a country, since its beginning, going through crisis over crisis over crisis and keep increasing. And nobody can predict when it will ever end and become peaceful. But we continue to do whatever we can do, and then the rest, we leave it to God, and we believe and hope God will intervene somewhere, sometime.
And some of the Fulanis, they're not the Fulanis that we know, because some, they came from West Africa, because the Fulani that we stayed with them, for me, 75% of my relatives, they are Muslims. And we were friends, we celebrate together. And so, and the Fulanis among us, they are not hostile. So these Fulani and Muslims now, some, because of the radicalization, they are radicalized, and they believe in these theories, their ideology, and it made them to be hallucinate. I don't know how to describe it, but it changed them like they are no more human being. But there is hope, because we witness to a lot of people through through this dialogue and all this. Some, they drop their weapon. And even in this reintegration, some of them are Muslims and they brought the bombs and all this. They said, we want to be better. We want to be real human beings. We want to be normal. So hopefully with prayer and with persuasion and peaceful and all this, some may repent. In my life, I taught a Christian-Muslim relationship, and so I took the theory and witnessed to many people, and over 67 people are Christians now, and some they are radical Muslims, but now they are Christians, and some including the Fulani. So nothing is too hard for God.
I want to thank you for sharing with us this evening, Samuel and Rebecca. Thank you for being here at the Young Center all semester and what you're doing, and also thank you for sharing with us this evening and the ongoing work that you're doing with CEPI and with your church connections. I want to also remind our audience that 3 weeks from tonight, we will have our next evening program, and I invite you to join us for our annual Dernball lecture, Thursday, March 25th at 7 p.m., when Dr. Nathan Hostler, director of the Church of the Brethren's Office of Peacebuilding and Policy in Washington, D.C., will be addressing the topic, Weapons Transfers as Foreign Policy, Theological Ethics, Economics, and Strategy. And he'll be discussing the way in which weapons transfers, weapons sales internationally is an emerging subject of peace church dialogue and ethical discussion internationally, both in terms of theological ethics, but also in terms of political science and public policy. Special thanks this evening to our support staff in Information Technology Services who helped make this program possible. And thanks to Elizabethtown College and its administration for support of the Young Center. Thank you for being with us this evening and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.